Hello and welcome to the Deploying Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response Solutions Gorilla Guide Webisode event. Today we'll be talking about SOAR solutions, and you'll hear from experts at Palo Alto Networks, Red Hat, Runecast, and ServiceNow. Thank you so much for joining us on the webisode. We've got a great show lined up for you on this Friday afternoon. We've got prizes. We'll be talking about the prizes here in just a moment. We also want this to be educational. So we'll be doing a dedicated panel discussion at the end of the event. So keep your questions coming throughout the presentations today, and I'll be queuing up the best questions for that panel discussion. We'll also have some poll questions for you out there in the audience. We encourage your questions during the event, and we appreciate your participation in the polls as well. We want this to be a social event as well, so you can follow Actual Tech Media over on Twitter, and you can follow me as well, David M. Davis. Also, the hashtag for the event is Gorilla Guide. So we encourage any socialization of the events, help spread the word about what we're doing here with the Gorilla Guide Webisode series. These are a recurring series of events that we most typically hold on Friday. And hopefully it's a fun and educational brown bag type lunch event. Get your learning in before the week is over. Also, a few other things that you should know about the event. There's a number of resources there on the left-hand side of your audience console. There's a link for the Red Hat homepage right there. You can click on that and learn more about Red Hat and specifically the Red Hat SOAR solution. There's a link there to the Runecast white paper on how to deal with the purple screen of death. And there's a lot of information in there. You'll want to download that. Then we have from ServiceNow, information on the ServiceNow security incident response solution. And then finally, check out the resource from Palo Alto Networks. This is on the top security orchestration use cases, talking about the Palo Alto Networks Cortex solution. So lots of resources available for download there in your handouts tab. And finally, there's a link in there to the Gorilla.Guide webpage. And on Gorilla.Guide, you can download full-length educational ebooks. They're all completely free. Sign up for the Gorilla Guide Book Club, and you'll periodically receive emails of all of our new publications. Again, they're all free ebooks. Why go out and buy a book when you can download free ebooks at Gorilla.Guide? We're also supporting Gorilla-related charities, the Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund and One Tree Planted as well. Before we go, you may have heard that we have some Amazon gift cards to give out. Hey, those kind of go along with the Gorilla theme, right? Amazon gift cards. We have 3 $100 Amazon gift cards. You must be live in attendance to qualify for the drawings, and full prize terms and conditions can be found in the handouts tab. All prize winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media. We'll reach out to you after the event to deliver your gift card. We'll be announcing those periodically throughout the event, so make sure that you stay tuned. And then before we talk about SOAR solutions, just a reminder to follow us over on social media. We publish all of the recordings of our Megacast, EcoCast, Summit, and Gorilla Guide webisodes over on our YouTube channel. So make sure you go and subscribe to that to see post-event recordings. Our Facebook page, our 10 on Tech podcast is over in the iTunes store. And we post most of our latest and greatest content over on LinkedIn. So make sure that you follow us there. Now, before I introduce you to our first presenter from Red Hat, I want to just talk for a moment, do a little bit of stage setting about SOAR solutions specifically. So what is SOAR exactly? Not all of you, might have heard of this before. So it's good to do a little bit of level setting. SOAR stands for Security, Orchestration, Automation, and Response. And what is SOAR? Well, let's talk about that. But first, some of those scary statistics. $6 trillion, that's the number. That's the amount of damage related to cybercrime in 2020 that unfortunately so many companies out there will have to pay. And then the average cost of a malware attack on a company in 2020 is $2.6 million. That's a high price tag. That's a lot more than any security tools out there, or a lot more than you're going to pay any security practitioner to help better secure your infrastructure. So investments in those areas are well spent, in my opinion, as long as you don't go overboard, but reasonable investments. And so how can SOAR solutions help to prevent some of these security challenges that so many of us are facing? Malicious attacks, ransomware. I got a notice just this week from the website, have you been pawned? I don't know if you've seen that. You put in your email address and it tells you if your email address and personal information is for sale on the dark web. And sure enough, I got an alert that there was another data breach, and my information, along with four or five other million people, was breached and has been sold out on the dark web, including all sorts of personal information. So it's a scary time for all of us, not just companies, but all of us individually. And so hopefully these SOAR solutions can help to make life easier and more efficient for us as IT practitioners, and for any of us trying to solve these problems. Most importantly, at a high level, SOAR solutions exist to address the ever-growing problem in security, which is, how can I deal with a seemingly infinite number of potential security threats? The threats never stop. They just continue to increase over time, but we can't just continue to increase our security staff. So how can we get better, smarter, more intelligent, more efficient, more automated security tools to help us with that problem? We want to strengthen our security posture. We want to automate common security workflows, do things faster, because many of these attacks on our companies are automated. We need to be automated in our response as well. Streamline case management. So when there is a security incident, it needs to be quickly dealt with and efficient. We need a centralized way to query and share and access all of our security intelligence. If you have multiple tools, that's going to create inefficiencies. It's going to slow things down. What SOAR can't do is replace security professionals or IT experts. It's not just some kind of silver bullet where you put in the automated SOAR artificial intelligence and just everything is secure now. You still need security experts. You still need IT professionals, but this is going to make their jobs easier and allow them to deal with the greater and greater number of security threats. SOAR solutions also can't break broken processes or cultures. If you have a bunch of messed up security processes, SOAR typically isn't going to be able to fix that. It might automate those inefficient processes a little bit, but typically it can't fix that. So look at your security processes, count on your security experts, and learn more about innovative solutions to help streamline and better secure your IT infrastructure. And with that, let's kick off today's Gorilla Guide Webisode. And I'll introduce our first presenter. That is Massimo Ferrari, Consulting Product Manager at Red Hat. Massimo, it's great to have you on the event today. Tell us what's going on at Red Hat. Take it away.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Massimo Ferrari. I'm one of the product managers in the Ansible team, and today we are going to discuss about how you can use Ansible and the Ansible automation platform specifically with a security orchestration, automation, and remediation product, or SOAR. Before going there, we will do a very quick overview of the state of the security market. I know that most of you are security professionals, you know those things better than I do, but just for the sake of setting the stage and trying to explain you why Red Hat and specifically Ansible decided to extend to that space. So the truth is that the security market, it's in a kind of a bad situation right now compared to how it was roughly 10 years ago when I started in security. And what we know, talking with security teams, is that they are overwhelmed by all the alerts, all the events that are generated by the fantastic security solutions that they have in place to protect their infrastructures. What we know, roughly, is that a large organization buys between 15 and 50 different security solutions. All they do their fantastic job, and most of them produce alerts and they receive so many of them that they struggle to process 5% of what is produced. And we know that 5%, especially if you have a security background, you know that 5% is not even that bad, especially if you are super efficient in processing that 5%. Unfortunately, talking with the very same security teams, they will tell you that in the last few years, the time to identify and then eventually solve an issue has been increasing. And more importantly, if one of those attacks, those potential events, malicious events that they are looking at, actually goes through the defenses, the impact that this attack has is much bigger than it used to be. So again, as situation is not great, and why is that? Why is now worse than it used to be years ago? You may have heard many times that organizations are complaining that there are not enough security professionals on the market, which is certainly true. They want to hire them, they want to pay them a lot of money, they're simply not there. And one thing that we realized, like 18 months ago, was that, well, this is a place where automation can help. Although the lack of security professional, the lack of people, looking to protect your organization is just part of the problem. One thing that we know is that infrastructures, environments that needs protection right now are much more complex than they used to be years ago. There is a problem of scale. Now we are more and more adopting public cloud or hybrid cloud scenarios. And so the size of what we have to protect is much bigger than it used to be. There is a matter of complexity. Because now you're adopting multiple things. You may have bare metal workloads, you may have virtual machines, you may have containers, maybe you have functions. So the infrastructure per se, but also the applications that we deploy on that infrastructure are much more complex to protect. And more importantly, cyber attacks are now using technology to be more efficient. They use automation themselves to be more efficient. And this introduces a challenge of speed that is simply impossible to match by a human operator. On top of that, there is a very well-known problem of lack of integration between the different tools. So we mentioned before, 15 to 50 different tools. Those are simply not designed to work together. And since modern cyber attacks are very complex and they attack in different places, different surfaces, you need to jump from one another. And those are not simply made to interoperate. And that's where we come up with the idea, which is the same realm that SOAR is trying to solve, which is, we can really use automation to solve both the issues and the challenges of scale, speed, and complexity, and this lack of integration. And that's where Ansible Security Automation was born. Ansible Security Automation is our effort to propose Ansible as the common integration and interoperability language across different security solutions. It is what we call a content domain. So the Ansible Automation Platform, as you know, is an automation framework, an automation platform, in fact. And in this context, what we do is dedicate some effort in producing integrations that we call modules and content, so the actual business logic that you want to automate that is dedicated to a specific target in the IT organization. Ansible Security Automation is one of those content domains and is dedicated to security professionals. The intent is to help them streamline their security processes and especially for response and remediation. So we are in the realm of event-driven automation. It is not a security solution. That's something I want to stress and tend to stress all the time. Is an automation solution dedicated to security professionals. Red Hat is not a security company. We will never be a security company. We don't want to be a security company, but we are automation expert. And our goal is to ease the consumption of automation in large organizations, in security teams. Although, as I said before, we had this idea and others had the same idea. I'm talking about security orchestration, automation, or remediation vendors. SOAR, in fact, are highly sophisticated incident analysis and triage tools that contain a certain degree of automation, something that a very mature security organization can adopt. And we compare, so how do we work with SOAR? So we, first and foremost, we don't compete. with SOAR solution. We are not building a SOAR solution. What we are doing is first serving a slightly different constituency of the security world. So those organizations are not mature enough, they don't have processes strong enough to adopt a SOAR straight away, but they want to get there. And for those organizations that are already looking at SOAR, we are trying to augment one of the components of a SOAR, which is the orchestration and automation engine. In fact, a SOAR is extremely good at the high-level business process, security process orchestration, the who is doing what, why, and when. Ansible, on the other hand, being a task automation platform, is very good at the how. So how do you actually execute an action that has been decided by a SOAR? More importantly, having a very large ecosystem and being agentless and very easy to integrate in existing scenarios is fantastic at managing the where you perform actions. And that's how it works. It's very, very easy. You have an integration between your SOAR of choice and the Ansible Automation Platform. And through the Ansible Automation Platform, you can use security integrations, part of Ansible Security Automation side by side with the existing integrations, but you can also extend your security processes to all the other realms where Ansible has a footprint. So why? What is the business value that you have there? Since you will see a whole lot of presentation of SOAR, so you will see the marvelous things that a SOAR could do, why should you integrate Ansible with a SOAR? First and foremost, because you might be in a different stage where you want to achieve, that maturity to adopt a SOAR, but you're simply not there yet. This is a baby maturity model, and there is a link there where you can go and read the full story. But basically, look at the first two slices. You might be in the first two steps of this maturity model. If you're in the right one, though, you have value that Ansible can provide to the SOAR that you are adopting or you already adopted. For example, the one that I described before. So the fact that security processes should be in a mature organization extended to the rest of the IT stack. And that's what the Ansible Automation Platform offers you, offers the footprint to reach all the other places, the other pieces of the IT infrastructure, but also the means to have those different teams. So IT operations, network operations, to come together and build and share the content, so the automation assets that can be used for security processes. At the same time, again, there is an opportunity of extending the footprint, which is the fact that we have a very large ecosystem. This ecosystem is a professionalized ecosystem, meaning that all the integration that we have with platform XYZ are provided by the very same vendor. And more importantly, those are supported, which means that not only with this integration you can reach other places of your infrastructure, but you have an end-to-end supported experience, which is very important. And more importantly, even more importantly, is the fact that every organization is different. So every time you have you want to perform a new action southbound of an orchestrated SOAR process, you have your own uniqueness there. You need to customize. It's always the case that you need to customize something. And Ansible Automation Platform provides you the Ansible language, which is YAML, is basically English, is human readable, and gives you a very simple way, not only to customize, but to prototype new actions. Another point is the fact that, once again, you may want to get there in an organic fashion. And implementing SOAR is a very important and very big process. And if you are in the process of getting there, so you're not in the maturity model, you're not in the right place of that maturity model yet, Ansible will give you the mean to build all the assets, to build all the experience, to build everything that you need to finally reach that stage in an organic fashion. That said, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully this was useful for you. I want to leave you with a couple of links, places where you can go and learn more about the Ansible Automation Platform, learn more about Ansible Security Automation and the content that we provide that is supported straight away, and hopefully get out value from what we are doing. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the event.
Excellent presentation. Thank you so much, Massimo. We just brought up the poll question for everyone out there in the audience. What additional information would you like about the Red Hat solution? And I'll leave that up for a moment, allowing everyone to answer that poll. I also want to remind you, of course, there's a link there in the handouts tab to redhat.com, and it's there that you can learn more about Ansible specifically, as Massimo talked about it. When it comes to automating around security and orchestration, and of course, we've had Red Hat OpenShift on a number of other events as well here recently. So there's information on there about Red Hat OpenShift. I've been learning more about that topic myself. But I want to encourage everyone to answer the poll. We do have 3 Amazon $100 gift cards. We'll be announcing those later throughout the event. Just not quite yet, but stick with us. All right. Thank you, everyone who responded to the poll question. We do appreciate it. Appreciate your comment, Richard, out there. Great info from Massimo. I agree. Really cool stuff there from Red Hat. And with that, let's move on to our next presenter on today's webisode. I'm excited now to introduce Mr. Wade Carlson, Systems Engineer at Runecast. Wade, great to have you on. Take it away.
Hi, another area I'd like to talk to you about is other major category and area that sysadmins and issues that they face is around security. Most VMware sysadmins or sysadmins in general are, not really security experts. We know that. We're really tasked with designing the environment, making sure the environment's up and running and healthy, and troubleshooting issues as they arise. And security is just an area that, we try to do our best to adhere to recommendations, best practices, make configuration checks that make sense. But we're at the end of the day, we're not professionals or experts at it. So we end up with our environments that have some level of vulnerability. So I wanted to talk about that at the moment and talk about how you can utilize and leverage Runecast Analyzer to help you with your security needs within your organization. I'll touch on a little bit about, what overlying the issues are with sysadmins and the security realm of what they have to cover. We find a lot of times that we don't have tools or software solutions in the environment that give us an overall visibility into, the security health of our environment. So lack of visibility into the compliance state. Time needed for manual checks and remediation. We always have other things that we need to do. Security, is something we don't generally follow up on proactively as much. Over time we get configuration drift. We get changes in the configuration software that we're running, hardware that we're running upon, and different types of things. So over time things change and we find ourselves, in a vulnerable state, outdated patches and those types of things. Bottlenecks and resource constraints also could lend themselves to security risks also in our environments. We have these high costs of reactive rather than proactive remediation efforts. As we all know, if you're out there fixing things before you have downtime and outages, that's just standard, protocol in a day's work, rather than, in a reactive state where something's already compromised, systems are down, and your business is losing money. You could get to a certain point that you have fines for non-compliance if you're in your business and you're leveraged against an audit policy as an example, or periodic audits and so forth. If you're not up to snuff, you can get fines for that. Reputational damage is always a risk. If your customer base finds out or it gets exploited that your systems have been compromised, then obviously your reputation is going to be harmed in that manner. Need for external consultants to deal with the aftermath. Again, most sysadmins are extremely good at their jobs, but we're not, including myself, we're not security experts. We haven't spent a career in focusing in on security. security-related items, vulnerability, and preventing them. So a lot of times if we end up with a security breach and problem in the environment, we have to hire somebody to come in and clean it up end to end. We may be specialized in our certain areas like VMware or Windows Server or Linux, things like that, but we don't have the broad spectrum to include networking, storage, and everything else that can be impacted. So, ultimately we can have high costs of external consultants coming in and cleaning it up. So with all this being said, this is really the high level. These are the pain points that system administrators and businesses face with regards to IT and security. And I just want to talk a little bit about Runecast Analyzer and how Runecast can take away and alleviate a lot of these pain points and perform some of these actions, be preventative in nature, and show you where your gaps are, so you can resolve some of these things before they actually become problems. So let me jump into the product real quick. And I'll just show, let me expand this here. In Runecast Analyzer, we do analyze your environment, check against KBs, VMware's entire KB repository, best practice repository, as well as the security compliance repository. We also have built in the 7 major industry standard checks out there in the environment. But anyway, so everything from VMware guidelines to DSysTig, PCI DSS, HIPAA, BSI, IT Grundschutz, CIS, and NIST. These are all the industry standard frameworks that we have enabled and included within the Runecast Analyzer product that you can select any of these to attempt to comply against. What I normally recommend to everybody running VMware is the VMware hardening guidelines, and anybody running VMware that's connected to the internet, the CIS, okay, Center for Internet Security. Those two is a baseline, and then I generally recommend going from there and trying to align something with your vertical as far as your business is concerned. If you accept payment cards for transactions and products and goods and services, PCI. If you're in the healthcare, HIPAA. If you're part of a government agency or need to comply against government or federal regulations, we have DSysTig, BSI, European Standard, or NIST. So plenty of options here. Just to let you know quickly, if you jump into settings and knowledge profiles is where you can enable or disable any of these frameworks. If I edit this and uncheck one of these, then they won't show up over here to the left, and I don't have to see that. Normally people wouldn't want to have all of these checked and try to comply against each single one of them. There is some overlap among the frameworks. So anyway, whatever you're related to your business and you guys need to comply against, obviously go in and select those. But again, these are the security checks from the frameworks. We're also going to have findings in your environment related to best practices with regards to security, KBs discovered, knowledge base articles that are related to security. If I dig into here, I can show some of those things and see some of those things. I can select what it affects in here, and if I select security, each one of these areas has this sort and filter option in here. So I can hone in and see KBs specifically tied to security, and check those and see what the severity level is, see what the high level detail is, see how many objects I have affected in my environment that I need to go out and remediate and fix. Okay, so all this data is scattered among all of this information that Runecast Analyzer applies. When you do an Analyze Now with Runecast in your environment, there's 30,000+ checks that occur. So KBs are analyzed, best practice, security compliance, hardware compatibility, all those types of things are being checked. So there's tons of information and data that you can obtain about your environment in seconds or minutes. You don't have to wait days and try to spend weeks and endless effort trying to gather and gain this information yourself manually. Another way I'd like to show and illustrate, remember you can go into the All Issues view, and if you go into the All Issues view, you can go in again and sort and filter on security. If I go in and affects security, then I have an overall list of all of my security findings within my environment. It's going to show me the severity, the source, if it's a KB article, if it happens to be PCI DSS calling something out, a best practice, and so on and so forth. It's going to show me what the source is. And again, you expand these, and it's going to show you the workarounds. It's going to show you the issue and the resolution. Runecast not only shows you the problem, but we provide you a resolution to that problem, so you can go and fix this vulnerability in your environment. Again, findings is going to show you the objects in the environment that are affected. And so that's just another way to get a high level. So you can come in here, sort on security, and you can export a report, provide that to management, provide that to a security person, an officer, or an auditor if you have to prepare for an upcoming audit. So with that being said, this is really kind of in a nutshell how Runecast can help you. And again, it's a simple product to install, configure. It's within a matter of minutes, you're up and running. Target your vCenter server, and then you're kicking off. And it's really fast in deploying and providing the results to you, that you have something to work from, and you can start in your remediation effort to ensure that you're hardening your environment and making sure it's safe and protected. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time with this, and just wanted to show you how Runecast can help solve yet another one of our top issues that VM sysadmins face.
All right, excellent presentation. Thank you so much, Wade. It's really cool to see Runecast, how it's grown and expanded over time. I saw it initially when it was really just like in a beta state. And this product, I tell you, can just solve so many problems in the virtual infrastructure, and moving now, much deeper and deeper all into the security space, which is something that so many companies need. I've just brought up the poll question here about the Runecast solution. So I encourage you to respond to that poll. We do appreciate it. We'll send that back to Wade. And we've got Wade coming back for our panel cast discussion that's coming up here in just 2 more presentations to go until that happens. So we hope that you'll get your questions in and stay tuned for that. I'll be announcing our first Amazon $100 gift card after the next 2 presentations here, just before we go to the Q&A. So make sure that you stay tuned for that. And I'll leave that poll up here for 1 more moment and let everyone respond. For anyone out there who's having trouble submitting the poll, I did get one person in the questions box there. Try a refresh on your web browser, and 99% of the time that will resolve it and kind of kick the poll in and allow you to answer it. You select the answers right there in the slides window. And the cool thing about the Runecast solution, I was just browsing the solutions brief here that's in the handouts tab, is that it's an all software solution. It's like having a expert on staff, an automated expert that knows virtualization and knows security and knows all the problems that you can get into, and will tell you how to prevent those before they happen. That's the real trick right there. Anybody can solve a problem once everything's broken, but trying to identify a problem before it happens is just incredibly powerful, because it's going to prevent downtime, prevent performance slowdowns, and most important, keep the users happy and keep your job. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone who responded to that poll. We do appreciate that. It's now time for our next presentation on today's Gorilla Guide Webisode. I'm excited to introduce Mr. Carl Klasig, Director of Product Marketing for Security Operations at ServiceNow. Carl, great to have you on. Take it away.
Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining me today to discuss automating incident response to help your IT and security teams more effectively join forces to secure your remote workforce. So much of what we face today, the challenges by the IT and security teams, continue to be focused on several key areas, right? No context, not enough resources, manual processes, siloed data, and teams for that matter. And it really combines to deliver a tough ability to prioritize and respond to incidents. And as we all know, in this day and age, incidents are getting higher in volume and more nefarious than ever. And the old adage of "you cannot fix what you cannot see" holds true. You need visibility by both IT and security teams into the incidents and context, so they can really prioritize and respond accurately. And in the age of do more with less, we know that teams are already stretched. So tools that make us all smarter and faster really are not just novel, but necessary for success. And remember, time and again, threats have proven to move at machine speed. So tools that automate the processes and work with our teams in real time are critical for the success of these teams to take on today's incredibly aggressive threats and vulnerabilities, and to prevent incidents overall from becoming a breach and impacting your business. In this new normal, just how important is that automation? We think about it in terms of dollars and cents. As you heard me describe, we realize that it has a great deal of value in just making your teams more scalable and responsive. But at the end of the day, that also adds up to dollars and cents for everyone. Organizations that had deployed automated security solutions that went ahead and reduced that need for direct human intervention throughout the entire process really saw a significant decrease in their costs of breach. Essentially, they were lower costs after experiencing that breach. And those organizations that had not deployed security automation experienced breach costs that were dramatically higher, 5.16 million without automation versus 2.65 million with automation. And breach costs at organizations with automation actually continued to reduce from 2018 to 19. Automating workflows and shared data and actions between security and IT teams helps ensure that threats to your business are resolved before they can impact the business. Security orchestration, automation, and response. A mouthful, SOAR. At the end of the day, what does that mean? Well, automating security incident response, as we've spoken in these few minutes, really helps you effectively manage the evolving threats to your business. You can ensure cyber resilience with a real-time view into that security posture to quickly prioritize security incidents. Essentially, establish effective and repeatable processes. Stop using time-consuming and error-prone processes such as emails, spreadsheets, phone calls. Automate those cross-functional workflows and evidence collection. Prioritize your tasks based on business impact. Drive overall efficiencies and accelerate reaction time with insights across the teams. Essentially, that collaboration and automation drives incredible results. Enable your teams to work on the most important things first, delivers a continuous incident monitoring, increases the performance and productivity, as we've mentioned, and better communicate incident response effectiveness and resilience at all levels in the organization. So think about reporting up and the priority that is, and what will continue to be so. Comprehensive incident record scoped across teams. So what do we mean by that mouthful right there? Essentially that single system of record. When the average enterprise uses 75 security tools in their SOC, it's really hard to see the big picture. The security incident record puts everything in one place, from related tasks to notes to attachments. So automating these processes and workflows also automates the record. Because the single system of record is also shared with IT, it's easy to create tasks for them. When we talk about those collaborative workflows, that they reflect both known IT and security team workflows and processes, they're going to be that much more effective. And it's important to know that it is a scoped application and should be. So meaning it requires separate access permissions to ensure the security ongoing. When we think about this collaboration we've been talking about, essentially routing work seamlessly between the teams reduces those cumbersome processes and manual handoffs that often can be error-prone, increases that performance and productivity through consistent and cross-functional automation. Think of establishing those consistent and effective workflows and processes. The dynamic dashboards that we discussed along with the reporting really enable teams to easily communicate and collaborate on the response tasks. And the system can even remind assignees with this automation if their tasks aren't completed on time per SLA thresholds, or it can escalate those tasks if necessary. This ensures no tasks or decisions are accidentally missed. Security analysts can also communicate with stakeholders from within this platform. They can leverage that automation to chat to keep everyone in the loop that has a piece of the pie in resolving this incident. And ultimately, getting to that point where you have that report, like we've touched on, a SOC efficiency dashboard is just such an asset for these teams. This resultant report, based on the automation and the processes and the workflows that are going on in all your incidents, really lets teams know how their SOC is performing overall and where you need to evolve those teams and processes. With the tracking and reporting in mind, you can leverage as much as possible those key metrics to develop a picture of how the SOC is performing, and not just in general, as we've touched on, but in specific areas over time. Review analyst efficiency metrics and identify overburdened analysts or skills gaps. You can evaluate and shape detection and response processes and workflow, and identify security incident trends and stage analysis that can really reveal bottlenecks and roadblocks that you need to address within your teams, the workflows, and the process. When we talk about this in terms of what it means, we also talk about this because we are a customer as well. We know that we all hear companies say we drink our own Kool-Aid and champagne, etc., whatever it may be. But the reality is this was born out of what we've done. So with ServiceNow, when we talk about what we contribute in the SOAR industry, we have a long-term, very successful history of understanding IT workflow and processes, and overall, as well, investing in our security operations teams and center overall to also understand security operations and processes. So when we look at the savings that we realize from automating tools such as what we're discussing here today, what they can pay off, we've seen those savings ourselves and not just in our customers. So tremendous things to be aware of, and know that investing in security automation, in incident automation and orchestration is an invaluable move towards being able to be cyber resilient in a day and age that demands it.
All right. Cool presentation there from Carl on what ServiceNow is doing when it comes to security, orchestration, automation, and response. Thank you so much, Carl, for your presentation. Look forward to having you back for the panel discussion here coming up. We've got one more presentation to go, and then we'll drop into the panel discussion. I just brought up the poll question for everyone out there. What additional information would you like about the ServiceNow solution? And I'll leave that up for a moment, allow everyone to answer that. And then I'll be introducing you to our next speaker from Palo Alto Networks. Don't forget to check out the ServiceNow handout. It's there in your audience console. It's got more details. It's a data sheet on the ServiceNow security incident response solution. So hope that you'll check that one out. And of course, visit servicenow.com to sign up and get a demo or a trial of the solution yourself. All right. Thank you, everyone who responded to the poll question there. We do appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on now to our next and final presenter before we go into our panel discussion. I'm excited now to introduce Jane Go. She is with Palo Alto Networks, a senior product marketing manager. Jane, it's great to have you on the event today. Take it away.
Hello, welcome to this quick overview of SOAR. My name is Jane Go, and I lead product marketing for Cortex X SOAR, our Palo Alto Networks SOAR platform. When it comes to responding to incidents, does this scene look familiar? Lots of people, tools, and processes are involved. These security challenges, I'm sure, apply to other operations too. You have too many alerts or tickets and not enough hours in the day to resolve them. And the numbers you see on the bottom are averages for SecOps teams, but they probably would be different in your area. But the whole point is that there's a lot of alerts, there's not enough time, and it takes longer than it should to resolve these incidents. So SOAR solutions were designed to address these challenges. SOAR stands for Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response. Orchestration here involves controlling and activating your product stack for incident response from one central location. SOAR products do this through playbooks or task-based workflows that coordinate across people, processes, and technology. Automation is a subset of orchestration. SOAR automation involves finding repeatable tasks and executing them at machine speed. SOAR products have automation scripts and extensible product integrations to accomplish this. And the final component, response, involves maintaining incident oversight as it goes through the life cycle. Within SOAR products, this includes case management, collaboration during investigation, and analysis and reporting after incident closure. SOAR is not just for automating security operations use cases like phishing, threat hunting, or vulnerability management. As our customers deploy SOAR automation in their organizations, they're discovering a lot of adjacent use cases that apply to network security, compliance, cloud, and IoT. And also beyond the security for COVID-19 response or tracking, for HR, and even for shift management. So why are our customers leveraging SOAR beyond the SOC? Well, our open and extensible platform supports any API integration. Our automated playbooks are easily created, or those that come out of the box can be easily customized using a visual editor, so there's no need for heavy coding. Incidents here are just alerts that trigger these playbooks, so they can be any input. It can be an email, for example. Playbooks follow workflow logic with filters, conditional tasks, and trigger points, so these can be adjusted to your existing processes. Since we have over 500 integrations with a significant number that are non-security focused like G Suite, Microsoft Outlook, Teams, groups, ticketing tools, conferencing tools, SQL databases, HR systems, you can easily spin up playbooks with these pre-built integrations. So let's take a look at some use cases. Okay, maybe not a sheriff, but you folks in IT probably deal with employee offboarding and onboarding or reassignments on a daily basis. This is a large time sink if you have to touch each system manually to update groups and permissions. And if you have a bunch of tickets, the backlog can lead to employee loss of productivity as they wait for their turn for access. And when an employee leaves, you gotta reverse the whole process. And if the deprovisioning is not done correctly within a short period of time, it can lead to serious security exposures. SOAR can help you automate this whole process. So this is an example of a flow. So you can assign a new employee onboarding to the relevant HR representative. You can create a request for a new email address and assign it to the relevant admin. You can extract that email for further tasks. You can check if SFDC or Salesforce is needed, and if so, you can create an FDC account for that new employee. You can create relevant travel accounts. You can order and provision new laptops, order new business cards, transfer phone numbers to the corporate account. You can even set up financial accounts. And then you can send an email to the employee about completed onboarding. And this is great in terms of automating the process, because not only are you saving time, you're also standardizing the whole process and ensuring that nothing is left out on your checklist. Let's look at the next case, the case of the impossible traveler. So in this case, you have a global organization, and it's tough to really spot malicious login attempts, right, from a genuine case of employee travel and access from another country. Well, perhaps not a lot of people are traveling on business right now, but I'll bet you that there are a lot more remote users now than ever before. Moreover, with the increased cloud adoption, there's multiple sources of geographical presence to verify, and this heaps more work on your team and also presents a window of opportunity to attackers. And again, tracking user logins can get very repetitive and time-consuming if it's done manually. So here we have a playbook that ingests detection alerts that identify the user activity originating from geographically distant locations. This is triggered by an alert coming in from a SIM. The playbook pulls the user details from Active Directory as well as their manager account details. Simultaneously, it enriches IP info by checking reputations of the IP addresses using existing threat intel tool integrations in your organization. Next, it calculates the distance between the IPs. It generates a location map and event duration. And if the email is deemed malicious, the playbook can execute a series of containment steps such as changing incident severity levels, disabling user accounts, blocking malicious IPs in the firewall, and even notifying the management team. Tired of playing SSL certificate catch-up? Well, so was one of our customers. So this particular use case actually was developed by one of our customers. They were having trouble maintaining the integrity of their SSL certificates across the endpoints, so they scheduled a Cortex XOR playbook to run at timely intervals and to query all the endpoints to check for SSL certificates nearing expiry, and greatly reducing both the manual work and business risk that was stemming from these out-of-date endpoints. So to meet this challenge, a Cortex XOR playbook, like I said earlier, was scheduled as a job to run at timely intervals and query all the endpoints to check for SSL certificates that were nearing expiry. For vulnerable and expired certificates, the playbook pulled up user and manager details for email notifications and offline follow-up. This playbook helped save security analyst time and increase the accuracy of a very important but repetitive operational task. And last but not least, let's take a look at a use case that helps you manage whitelists. So when it comes to whitelist or blacklist administration, a whole bunch of folks are involved here. The SOC team is typically involved in updating whitelists that IT Ops or NOCs will own. So they're communicating back and forth on which things should be whitelisted, which things should be removed from the whitelist. The firewall admins or the NOC are responsible for ensuring that employees can always access SaaS applications such as Office 365 or Dropbox, etc. The process can be complicated because A, there are multiple teams involved in maintaining the lists. B, the lists need to be pushed to many security devices from different vendors across the enterprise. And C, the processes are often manual and time-intensive. And to add to the challenge, SaaS security updates like those for Office 365 are constantly being updated. There also needs to be a mechanism to remove the indicators that are no longer relevant from a watch list. So here in the automated workflow, we have a collection layer of IPs domains coming into SOAR, and we can generate EDLs, and the firewalls will be configured to pull these EDLs in a regular interval. Key benefits here, obviously you're saving time by removing the need for manually updating many network devices, but you also get the benefit of removing the element of human error when it comes to applying changes to critical network infrastructure. And because every action is auto-documented, you can easily track the history of changes and updates in case of a business outage, for example. So these are just a few use cases that we're able to cover in a short 10 minutes. And by the way, all of the use cases that I mentioned, they're available right out of the box with a single click to deploy in your organization. So go ahead and take a free test drive of our platform and check out our hundreds of out-of-the-box automations that are available. Our own Palo Alto Networks SOC also uses Cortex XOR. So if you're interested in seeing a real-world example of Cortex XOR in action, we also encourage you to take our SOC tour. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you, Jane. Really great presentation. Cool to see what's happening at Palo Alto Networks in the area of security, orchestration, automation, and response. I've just brought up the poll question for everyone out there on the screen. I encourage you to answer this poll. We do appreciate it. This is our last poll on the event before we start up our Q&A panel discussion. So I'll leave that up there for a moment. I also want to, of course, remind everyone, check out the handouts that are available in the handouts tab. You'll see there the Palo Alto Networks Cortex top security orchestration use cases. So you can see really how these types of SOAR solutions would be implemented in the real world, how to use them to increase analyst productivity, leverage existing investments, unify your security infrastructure, create standardization, scalable processes, and probably most importantly, accelerate the incident response. When you have an incident out there related to security, resolve it, deal with it faster than ever before. So while I leave that poll question up for just a moment, we might as well, let's go ahead and announce our first Amazon $100 gift card winner. This gift card is going out to Jim Perkins from South Carolina. Congratulations, Jim Perkins from South Carolina. I've got 2 more Amazon $100 gift cards to give out after our panel discussion. So hope that you'll stay tuned for that. All right. Thank you to everyone who responded to the poll question. We do appreciate that. It's now time to kick off our panel. And I'm afraid that Massimo from Red Hat had to run to another call, but he is welcoming and excited to have your questions there in the questions box. I will be routing those to him after the event. So, of course, thank you to Massimo. Also, check out the handout that's there in the downloads or handouts tab. Actually, sorry, it's a link to redhat.com. But now, let's go ahead and bring in our three presenters, welcoming Wade Carlson, systems engineer, again at Runecast, Mr. Carl Klasig, director of product marketing, security operations at ServiceNow, and welcoming back Jane Go, senior product marketing manager at Palo Alto Networks. Let's kick it off. First question is for you, Wade. They're asking if Runecast automatically fixes any of the security issues that it finds.
Yeah, not yet. Most of our clients have expressed they do not want Runecast making changes in their environments. However, with that being said, we are working to introduce some simple remediation capabilities, things that you can enable, turn on, do some simple, security validations and checks for things that you simply turn on or off. As an example, enable or disable SSH is a good example of that. So we're looking to add that. Runecast does have a vRealize Orchestrator plugin available. So if you're using vRealize Orchestrator, you can enable the Runecast plugin. And with the plugin, we provide some default security workflows. So then you can run your workflow and orchestrate the remediation steps using VRO from Runecast security findings. So we do have that available as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Wade. Jane, this question's for you. They're saying you mainly focused on non-SecOps use cases. What are some of the use cases you see in security?
Well, since this is a diverse audience, I wanted to share a variety of automation use cases that you can apply with SOAR, especially with an open and extensible platform like Cortex XSOAR. But the common security use cases that we do see are phishing, malware alert response, proactive blocking of known threats, cryptojacking, endpoint protection, just to name a few. Again, I encourage anyone who's interested to download our free trial. It's a fully featured version. You can go to our marketplace on our platform and check out all of the out-of-the-box use case content packs. As I mentioned, we have hundreds of these.
Carl, I've got a question for you. They're asking, given the increased volume in pandemic-related phishing and malware, how can the SOAR solutions like ServiceNow Security Incident Response help our team to take on that dramatic increase?
It's a great question to ask, and more than ever with what we all face, right? I'm no longer the oddball working from home. We have a world working from home. So SOAR solutions are infinitely valuable that way. And let me touch on a few ways right out of the gate that they can really help. First is by automating a lot of the processes up front, like threat intel lookups. You're able to shortcut the amount of time it takes to determine if an incident is real or false positive by a very large margin. And second, by leveraging the flows and playbooks that we touched on during the presentation, your security analysts are really able to develop prescriptive guidance based on your organization's runbook. What do I mean by that? Essentially, it particularly helps those more junior analysts who may not have known exactly what to do. And also, they can automatically create those real-time dashboards, post-incident reviews, KB articles. So not only do you have that up-to-minute view of what's happening for your teams and in the org overall, but you'll have reports that can take days or weeks to create normally, and they're created automatically for you at your fingertips ongoing. Huge assets going forward. That ability, again, to take those processes that can be mundane and time-consuming for your teams off the table, and secondly, to have that reporting and nonstop real-time view of what's going on, where you're effective, where you're not, with insights into how you can fix and address any of your challenges.
Excellent. Thanks, Carl. Next question. This one's for you, Wade. They're saying that there are a few different versions of NIST controls. Which one does Runecast use?
Excellent question. Runecast currently analyzes against NIST 800-53.
Great answer, Wade. Another quick one here for you, Wade. That is, how often should I scan or can I scan my environment with Runecast?
You can set up automatic scheduling to run hourly, daily, weekly. So we're very flexible and robust in how you can do that. You can select certain days of the week, etc. More than once a day, however you see fit. What's nice about it is not only can you set up automatic scheduling, but you can also set up auto alerting, configure your SNMP, and you can then receive notices when scans complete, and also receive a report on the findings that Runecast finds.
Excellent. Thanks, Wade. Another question for you, Jane. What really makes the Palo Alto Networks Cortex X SOAR solution unique in the SOAR space?
So our DNA is in security operations automation, unlike a lot of other vendors who may have pivoted from other areas where managing security incidents is not necessarily a core competence. For example, we have security-focused case management built in, and the critical difference to note here is that we provide custom layouts for different security incident types, because we understand that the data that you need for a phishing incident is quite different from that of a malicious user login or a cloud incident. And why should this matter? Because it makes it easy to adapt to emerging threats. Also, in terms of case management, we integrate with all of the major ticketing solutions, like ServiceNow, Jira, Remedy, and Slack, and we support full mirroring, so your team doesn't really even have to pivot between systems to update tickets or to create tickets, because every change is automatically updated in both systems. And also, as you know, playbook actions are powered by the integrations. And we have the largest and broadest SOAR ecosystem in the industry with over 500 integrations. We're adding more every 2 weeks. And given that scope, we probably have all of your product stack covered out of the box. So you can actually focus on customizing your playbooks rather than trying to build an integration. And since we are user seat license based, as your automation journey matures, there are no extra hidden costs that will hit you as you expand into new use cases. And we also support native threat intel management out of the box on our SOAR platform to help you get the most out of your threat feeds. Well, I could go on, but again, I encourage you to go check it out for yourself.
And Carl, here's a question from the audience. Looks like James is asking, do SOAR solutions have integrations out of the box for our SIEM and other security solutions?
Absolutely. Security information event management is one of the most major and foundational infrastructure investments that security makes, right? That's what the SOC counts on for their data point for much of what that they make decisions on. So we immediately tap into that wealth of information. Our SOAR solution, has just innumerable integrations right out of the box, as well as continued integration additions are available on the store. And if we don't have an integration already made, we offer an integration hub that enables a very simple creation of that. So we, again, deliver right out of the box and have plenty of flexibility to go ahead and address any newly needed integration.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's see. Next question here. This one's for you, Wade. What about a free trial? Is that a possibility with Runecast?
Yes, you can simply just go to our website, runecast.com, take about 10-15 seconds to set up a portal account. And once you have a portal account, then you have access to the OVA. It's an unlimited 14-day trial. And again, very easy to set up. Installing and running Runecast is about a 15-20 minute process. Very simple and straightforward.
Jane, this question's for you. Is your SOAR product just for Palo Alto Networks products?
No, as a SOAR platform, we're vendor neutral. Our customers have and will continue to dictate the products that we integrate with. As I mentioned, we have over 500 integrations, and we're continuing to add 3 or 4 new ones every week. And this varies from non-security as well as security products.
Jane, before we go, I want to make sure I ask you, how can people learn more about the Palo Alto solution?
I encourage you to download our free community edition or to join a SOC tour. And information here is listed on the last slide of this deck.
Very nice. Thanks, Jane. And Carl, here's another question for you. They're asking, can I track incidents by analyst and easily report on incident status and just overall SOC performance?
Absolutely. You know, it's one of the great outcomes of investing in, automating and orchestrating your incident responses and the workflow, is essentially getting those metrics so readily available that are now available to you automatically. Because not only are they invaluable, like we touched on, but it allows you to go ahead and utilize such performance analytics that you can go ahead and track in real time and be able to see time closed incidents, average number of incidents by agent, etc., team performance overall, and essentially the efficacy of the security tools you have. So if you see, for example, you're getting a lot of false positives from your firewalls, you'll know that you should probably tune some of those rules. Just a short and sweet practical example of how you can leverage that type of KPI and data that you receive from a SOAR.
Awesome. Thanks, Carl. And final question goes to you, Wade. Does Runecast support any other products outside of vSphere?
Yeah, great question. Absolutely. Runecast also supports best practices in security for AWS, Kubernetes, vSAN, NSXV, and Horizon. We are going to be releasing in the next week or two support for NSXT as well. So for those of you running those other products, we have that as well. We do have best practice checks that you can enable for SAP HANA on VMware as well. So branching out into many different areas and fields, and we're really excited about the container, the Kubernetes support that we recently introduced.
Awesome. Great presentations all around. A really great panel discussion. Thank you so much for all the excellent questions, everyone out there in the audience. We do appreciate those. We don't have time to get to all the questions. We want to keep this event relatively short, let you get back to work. Now that your lunch educational session here with the webisode has ended. So we'll do our best to get back to those questions electronically. Before we go, I do want to announce the winners of the Amazon $100 gift cards. I already announced the first winner. That was Jim Perkins of South Carolina. Two more Amazon $100 gift cards. These are going to Donna Blainton of Texas. Congratulations, Donna Blainton. And Mark Giroux from California. Congratulations, Mark Giroux from California. Of course, thank you to everyone who supported today's event. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to the 10 on Tech podcast. And of course, check us out over on LinkedIn. I also want to tell you that when the event ends here, you will be automatically redirected to our events website. And we've got a lot of future events coming up, including our biggest event of the year happening next Thursday with 12 presenters, just tons of crazy prizes. I hope to see you on that event. Have a great day and have a great weekend. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.